the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And as always, 3D is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know the Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook and YouTube, we thank all of you for your continued support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I want to remind everyone that we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction, and we are asking everyone to stay connected with us throughout the week at our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio, where we play music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WKAPfaith.com. It is our internet radio station. We want to encourage you, we want to empower you, and we want to inspire you. So we want you to stay connected as we continue to move forward with all that God has called us to do. We are having a glorious time in what God has assigned for us. It's much work to be done. I'm not complaining, I'm just explaining. But I want to tell you, we're going to be having some additional adds to our broadcast. And what I mean by adds, different offerings. So one of the things we're going to be doing, and I'm going to be continuously making this announcement, is that we're going to be moving forward with our Zoom live stream broadcast also, which means that some of you will be selected to come on the air when we have our monthly contributor, Rebecca Boover, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, BeccaTheDietitian.com. When she's on the air, we're going to invite a couple of you to come in on the Zoom live stream and ask your own questions about health and wellness. And we just want to make certain that as we move forward with that and we move forward with what we're going to be doing with the radio station, that all of you are part of it. So stay tuned in. Be with us every day, Monday through Friday, from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel at Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And then, of course, every Sunday, we want you to tune in on our YouTube channel for New Life Christian Center - Pastor Pope. If you're in our area, we invite you to come and worship with us in New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. If you're not in our area, tune in. Service begins at 10 a.m., but we go live with the Sunday sermon on our YouTube channel at 10:45 a.m. So much is happening. We're delighted that all of you are part of it. And I have to tell you, we continue to receive an significant increase of viewership. So we invite everyone to tune in, invite your family, friends, and colleagues to tune in. We want everyone with us so that we all have a place to go and hear from God and know the purpose that God has appointed for our lives. So I'm going to go back to where we were last week But I'm going to respond to a few of the other communications also. We've been talking a lot about relationships. We're going to continue talking about relationships. And so one of our listeners and viewers indicated that you desire to be married. You are in your mid-50s. And I'm seeing this a lot. You know, people in their 50s and 60s who are saying, you want to date someone with the intent to get married. But all of you are saying it's difficult to do that. And I'm going to break this down for us. First of all, when you're in your mid-50s and 60s, there's nothing wrong with having the desire to be married. First of all, the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. So one of the things we have to understand is that's fine. And even if you marry someone at 55 or 60, God willing that we should live, you may be able to celebrate your 20th or your 25th wedding anniversary at some point in time. So there's nothing wrong with getting married later in life. There's nothing wrong with that. But however, you know, many people have life experiences. You may have found after one marriage you're divorced, maybe after being single for a long period of time. Now, for our listener and viewer who sent in this communication, you indicated that you've been single all of this time. And one of the reasons that you're finding it difficult is because you've been single all of this time. You're now in your 50s, and the issue becomes that you have all of your life experiences packed in your suitcases, and you carry your baggage with you everywhere you go. Now, I want to break this down because it's never too late to change or to do something unless you do nothing. Then it becomes too late. Here's the issue. You've been single all your life. And now in your 50s, being single all of your life, you've been making decisions for yourself all of your life. And so therefore, anyone who comes into your life is going to have to adjust, or at least you would require them to adjust to the way you live and accept you the way you are. Now, it's one thing to be accepted the way you are and who you are, but it's another thing not to be willing to make some change or some compromise. Because just like you, the person that you're going to start dating is going to come with his own set of luggage, his own life experiences. And you have to be able to be comfortable, both of you are going to have to be able to be comfortable making some adjustments. And saying, you know, I made a joke about this yesterday in our sanctuary. You can go back and view the broadcast, but, you know, it's not that deep. So I told the people in our congregation yesterday, all of our New Life family, I said to them, when Lady comes up from children's church, just say to her, it's not that deep. And you'll get a laugh, because that's one of our mottos in our home. Because we understand how important it is to have peace. So if there's something that we don't really totally agree on initially, it's not that deep. We find a way to just agree, even if we have to agree to disagree, because it's not that deep. What you're going to have to recognize is that as you start dating people who are in your mature age group, you're going to have to pick moments when you're going to find it necessary to say it's not that deep. It's okay if we disagree on something, but we don't have to get out of our peace. That's going to be important as you move forward. And for all of you who, you know, whether you've been through a divorce or whether you've been single for a long time, whether, you know, you have to realize that if we're going to have peace in our life, some things just can't be that deep. It's not that deep. So what I'm going to say to you is that what now, because you've reached this point, that for the very first time in your life, you've decided you want a date to be married, you are now going to have to decide at this time, you're going to make some changes in your attitude. You're going to have to decide that you're willing to make some changes in the way you think. You're going to have to decide that you're going to make some changes. Watch this. A clean heart, a renewed spirit, and a right mind. Let me rephrase that. A clean heart, a right spirit, and a renewed mind. So all of those components are going to require you to do different things now. To start thinking differently. And when you encounter someone who takes an interest in you, back to the basics. So it's funny about life. At some point in time, you have to make a decision to just get back to the basics. You know, the things we did and we were taught to do that were the right things to do, we need to get back to doing them. So here's the reality. You've got to say to yourself, okay, the way I've been doing it hasn't been working. I've got to do something different. I started off with a revelation that God gave me about people dating, how to date. So the first thing you're going to find necessary is to allow a godly man to come into your life. I'm not suggesting he's going to be perfect, because he's still a man. We're all men. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to navigate life, hopefully according to God's way and God's will. But I'm not suggesting he's going to be perfect. He may not clip his nails when you want him to clip his nails. He may not get a haircut when you want him to get a haircut. There may be things that are not perfect about him. But here's what a godly man does. A godly man gets up every Sunday and goes to church. A godly man is praying. A godly man is meditating. A godly man is reading the scripture. A godly man is waking up every day and making a conscious decision to do the right thing, even if he makes mistakes along the way. To just do the right thing. Because mistakes don't necessarily mean that they're the wrong thing. It just means that it's an error. See, you know, sometimes I've made this joke in our church, you know, I've done some stupid things. We've all done some stupid things. And what I mean by that is, I used an example one time. I was getting ready in the morning and I literally was looking for my glasses so that I could read something. And realized that my glasses were on my face. If you want to call stupid, that's stupid. Okay? And the reason is because I had taken them off to do some exercises. But what I didn't realize is the last set of exercises I did, I had left my glasses on because I was reading something else before I did that set. That's not wrong, it's not sinful, it's not harmful, it's just stupid. It's not. And one of the reasons is because I had grabbed a second set of glasses that were my previous glasses, so I couldn't, you know, I wasn't seeing it as well as I should, but nonetheless, my point is, none of us are perfect. We can do some silly things, maybe not stupid things, but maybe we're not being stupid, we're just being a little silly in the sense of we're not thinking clearly. But we've got to be more intentional about everything. And so, a godly man is going to wake up every day with the intent of walking in righteousness, meaning doing the right thing, doing what's pleasing unto God. So you have to ask the questions. If he asks you out, you have to ask the questions. will you take me to church and out to lunch? Most cases, men are going to ask you to go out to dinner. That's going to be the first thing they're going to ask you. And your reply should be, I'd like you to take me to your church and out to lunch instead of dinner. And the reason is because then you get the opportunity to see what he's being taught, what he's learning, what he's eating, what he's digesting, and you'll be able to have a conversation with him that has nothing to do with trying to impress someone while you're out on a dinner date to get to the next date. We've got to do things differently because we've been doing things the wrong way for so long, we think it's the right way to do them. And then we're going to get better results because if we're doing the same thing over and over again and we keep getting the same result, then we're not making progress in life. I know people will call that the definition of insanity, but also it's a definition for failing to succeed and make progress. We keep doing the same thing, we keep getting the same result, but we keep going back and doing the same thing. So let's be more intentional about everything we're doing in life. And let's focus on making continued progress and becoming the best version of ourselves we can possibly become. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you and your husband are friends with a couple who are now divorced, and although you do not want to take sides, you feel that you are siding with the wife and ignoring the husband. Okay, so let's make sure we're clear on something. Stop beating yourself up. You know, relationships are difficult to navigate. Here's what you've got. You've got a couple who are friends of yours and your husband's. Now that they've recently gotten a divorce, you feel like you're taking sides even though you don't want to take sides. You know, it's a natural tendency for women to have a bond that is generally stronger than men, but that's not always the case. But having said that, you are trying to make certain that she's emotionally well. Stop beating yourself up. You're trying to be a good friend. That doesn't mean you're not going to be a friend to him. That doesn't mean that you and your husband are not going to remain his friend. When people get divorced, dynamics change. And it's a natural part of life for dynamics to change. And the reason, once again, as I said, when women form a bond, they tend to form a much stronger bond if they're true friends. Now, this is going to take me into the next communication, but I'm going to break it out a little bit. You're trying to make certain that she's emotionally well. Your husband, as much as he is a friend with the former husband, he's going to check in with them, but they may not have the same bond that you and she have. So that there may be a little difference there. The goal should be to be there for both of them if they need you for emotional support. The goal is to do that. If you can do that and maintain that balance, you're not going to disrupt your friendship even though the friendships may change. Your husband's not going to have the same relationship with the former wife that he has had with them as a couple. It's normal for things to change when there's a divorce. And that's why we try to make certain that the family unit stays together. But divorce happens. It's a real factual part of life. And the reason is because of this. And I often say this. People will use the analogy that people change and they outgrow one another, and there may be some particles of validity to that, but for what reasons? And at the end of the day, the reason is because they truly were not the person that God assigned for your life. And you may say, well, it's a shame that we have to find that out, 10 years later, but you may not know that for 10 years, because one day to God is like 1,000 years. So you're going to find out along the way, and then unfortunately divorce will happen. But it's reality. We choose people based on the things that we find appealing to us, whether it's personality, whether it's physical appearance, whether it's whatever it might be. But God says, I don't want you to choose people for any other purpose, not to please your flesh, but because it's the person God has assigned for your life. We do better choosing not to get involved with people that God has not chosen for us. We choose not to do that. And that's part of this revelation of going to church and out to lunch. Church, out to lunch. Church, out to lunch. 3 times. One for the Father, one for the Son, one for the Holy Spirit. Because then you're going to get all the guidance that you need. You're going to get all the information that you need to determine whether or not you want to even entertain a relationship. Part of the problem is with relationships, we want to be entertained. We're not looking to entertain the relationship the right way. We're looking to be entertained for a relationship. Someone will get that later. The reality is, and hopefully all of us will get that later, the reality is we just have to understand that relationships require us to seek wisdom and understanding. The wisdom of God and the understanding of love for one another. That's all we can truly do. And we have to recognize that couples will sometimes go their separate ways. It doesn't mean we have to take a side. We don't have to pick. Just because they go their separate way, we don't have to pick one way or the other. All we have to do is be there to love them and to support them emotionally as they go through their journey of transition, and pray that God will send someone who He's appointed for their life to live out the remainder of their lives. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by PorscheAmerica.com. If you're in the market for a new high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. You will basically be able to build out your own Porsche to become a Porsche owner. And if you are in need of service, wherever you are across the U.S., wherever you are around the globe, go to your Porsche dealer, contact your Porsche dealer. They will make certain that the vehicle is brought to your home or office, dropped off, picked up your vehicle, and serviced and returned to you. In our area, PorscheDelaware.com. If you're in the market for a new high-performance automobile, one of the finest high-performance automobiles ever manufactured, go to Porsche, contact Porsche Delaware, ask to speak to Mike Didio, General Manager of Porsche Delaware. He will make certain that you are taken care of. And if you already own one, contact Porsche Delaware and ask to speak to Mike Adams, who is the service manager at Porsche Delaware. He will make certain that an appointment is scheduled for you, that they pick up your vehicle at your home or office and return your vehicle to you once the vehicle has been serviced. Also, this segment is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stopping at their retail stores, they have everything that a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stopping at the retail store, they have everything you could possibly need, home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated your girlfriends make you feel uncomfortable about your success. And you say they are always making comments about what you have and how they never had the same opportunities that you have to become successful in their careers. You call them girlfriends, I call them haters. And the reason I'm saying that to you is, I know that's a little shock value for you, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't have people who are, look, the people in your life should be people who encourage you to continue your success. They should empower you by strengthening you, praying for you, encouraging you, telling you that you can be the best version of yourself that you could possibly become. And they should inspire you. And if they're not doing those things, then you don't have girlfriends, you have haters. You don't have girlfriends, you have frenemies. You've got to understand how important it is to surround yourself with like-minded people. These are not like-minded people if they're always making comments about your success. These are not like-minded people if they are always telling you that they don't have the same opportunities you have to be successful. Those are excuses made by incompetent men and women to build monuments of nothing. Excuses. No, everyone doesn't have the same opportunity, but everyone doesn't have the same skill set. What God has for you is for you. What God has for them is for them. But they have to work to maximize their success. And the truth of the matter is, if they're telling you they haven't had the same opportunities, none of us have the exact same opportunities every day. We work to identify our opportunities and then maximize the potential that is within us so that when our opportunities and our potential merge together, they create success. We've got to understand that the people around us can't be our haters. They can't be our frenemies. We have to surround ourselves with people who are like-minded. People who understand that God is not the respecter of persons. What he's done for you, he will do for them. But they have to keep working so that they position themselves for the opportunities. And that then their potential merging with their opportunities will create that success. If they're always making comments about your success and not positive comments, if they are complaining about not getting opportunities, you've outgrown the people that you've surrounded yourself with. And if you've outgrown them, you've got to find some people who are going to inspire you to grow more. I'm not suggesting, listen, I tell people this all the time. You can't take everyone where you're going, and everyone can't stay where you are, even if you brought them along. But once you understand that, you got to keep moving. You got to keep going. You got to keep soaring. And at some point in time, perhaps you'll be able to come back and tell them how to do it also. But at the end of the day, you've got to separate yourself from people who are not encouraging you to become the best version of yourself that you can become, and applaud you for your current successes, and encourage you to continue to move, to continue to soar, so that they can follow you in flight. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your viewing environment tomorrow.